Welcome back to the Switch Sports Golf Challenge series. We're on day 3 of trying to get to 10 eagles through the standard 18 holes of Nintendo Switch Sports Golf. I'm starting in this sports selection mode so that I get completely random conditions, so I'm going in blind to what the winds are going to be, not restarting any seeds or anything like that. And let's jump right into hole 1 here and see if we can get a real low score, see if we can maybe pick up those 10 eagles today. We're going to see some tougher crosswind here, a little diagonal 6-mile-an-hour wind from left to right, also a little bit in the face. And that back pin, that's not necessarily the easiest, but we'll have to give it a run. Okay, let's see about where we need to put this one. Is the 9-iron the play? I think it may be. So let's adjust it to... I may even say like there, or maybe slightly less, because this is going to kick left. And once it lands, I don't think it's going to move right anymore, because the kick is to the left. And I think it should roll pretty straight after that. So maybe we'll adjust it to there. If I club down to the 9-iron, I think that should fly pretty well. Let's try it out. I'm going to hit the full 9-iron and see if that works. Is that going to be the proper shot? Oh, just roll a little bit more. So like I said, it did kind of roll pretty straight. The 9-iron just didn't quite reach. So I actually don't think I've seen that back pin with that diagonal 6-mile-an-hour wind. So now I know that it has to be the 7-iron. So next time I see those type of conditions, I'm always trying to memory bank things that work, things that don't work. So 7-iron has to be the play if the wind is diagonal 6 miles an hour or more. Because maximum driver and maximum 9-iron didn't get there. Okay, and now we have an interesting zero wind hole 2 here. We've seen this a couple times, and this power is pretty difficult to get correctly with the spoon. You have to roll it down there with the spoon. That's most definitely the play. If we could pick up the hole in 1 here, that would be very nice. It's just a matter of trying to get that power right. I know this has to be aimed a little bit left. 2 squares left on the green is usually pretty good for this one, and then it's just about getting that power perfect. So let's try it out. I feel like I've underpowered this one a number of times. Hopefully that one has a better shot than I've given it previously. That looks pretty good. Is it going to get there? Oh, I just miss it on the low side. So once again, just a slight underpower. I feel like on my backswing, I powered that a little bit higher. Just very slightly higher than what I ended up with when I followed through. And that happens sometimes. I mean, I can't get the swing perfectly every time. I just leave it a tiny bit short on that power meter. And it ends up a little short of the hole. So, not the easiest first 2 holes. The first one was a little bit unfamiliar with the conditions, just left it a little short with the 9-iron. And the second one, just a very precise pin to try to hit in this local play mode. Because I can't use the dot on the power meter as the reference point. It has to be just short of the dot, and it's tough to tell exactly just how short of the dot it needs to be. But let's mentally move on to hole 3 here. See if we can pick one up. Not the easiest of conditions to do it. I'll have to cut it pretty close to that tree on the right side if I want to leave this nice and close. That should sneak through the tree gap just fine though. We'll end up either in the rough or in the bunker. Bunker it is, that's totally fine. And this is a pretty doable chip from here. Maybe send it a little bit past pin high. I think that might be the move. The wind's going to push it a little left too, so I have to keep that in mind. I think I like this adjustment. We'll send it just a little past pin high on the power meter and see if that's good. Okay, that felt good. Is it going to roll back and fall? It will. So that was a scarier one. The wind was going to push that a little more. And oftentimes when the wind is in the face a little bit, it causes the spin to bite a little more, and it kind of does there. But fortunately, it just sneaks inside the left edge, and we'll pick up our first eagle. On hole 3. Let's see if we can keep this rolling. We'll see if we can get some nice conditions on the rest of the front here to try to pick up some more. And what kind of wind do we see? 11 miles an hour, pushing mostly to the left. I think I still want to club up to the 3-iron and definitely take some power off of it. I'm going to probably want to adjust this about 8 or so squares to the right. Somewhere around there should be good. I'm not exactly sure what it needs to be, but this should put it in the general area to give it a chance. What exactly would this need to be? I'm gonna aim it to about there. This feels about right. Just a little over 3 dots on the power meter. Feels correct as well. Probably to about there. Let's give it a run. So hopefully that should at least put it nice and close. That looks like it's actually really good. If that takes a nice roll back, can it come back and fall? It just won't. Oh man, I hit that about as perfectly as I could. And the spin just doesn't bite hard enough for it to come back and fall. 0.4 feet. What a heartbreaker there on a pretty well... I've thought out that hole 4 shot pretty well. Hit it just about perfectly. But sometimes it just doesn't fall. So we'll have to move on to hole 5. See if we can pick up our second one. If we can get some nicer conditions, doesn't look like we'll see it. 15 miles an hour right in the face is not the best. But you got to deal with it. You got to play with what the game gives you. And this is going to be a longer third shot. I don't think I'll be able to hit that little bump and run that I like to hit. I think I'll have to hit more of a standard third shot. But we'll see. With the wind going in this direction, I can maybe set it up on this second shot to make it a little easier. Let's just see. I want to leave this actually in the rough, short of the hole. And the goal of that is to make this a pure upwind shot. So bunker or rough is totally fine. I just want to make sure that this ends up as a very purely headwind shot on the third one. So it's a different feeling play. It doesn't always feel right to just aim for the rough. Like, it feels like the fairway is the place you want to be. But oftentimes the wind matters more. So let's bump this up to the 3-iron. And it's tough to tell exactly what this is going to have to do to get up there. Because this is not like the pure bump and run play. I'm a little scared of hitting this too hard. But I feel like that's about right. Let's see if we can at least give it a shot. Ah, okay. So it doesn't fly. I was very scared of hitting that one way too far. Because that's such a far distance with the 3-iron. So, an unfamiliar play there. Maybe I should have just flown it up there and, you know, tried to bounce it in. But I thought maybe I could roll that up there. Just doesn't quite work out. We'll have to hit that up the hill pretty hard for the birdie putt. So not the easiest hole 5 today. Definitely a longer third shot. Not quite the chip that we typically see when you have a pretty low chance of seeing wind directly in the face. I mean, it's like a 1 in 8 chance of seeing that wind direction, and a, you know, pretty low chance of seeing it that strong as well. We see some equally tough winds here on hole 6. Now I'm going to have to play this real aggressively. We're going to use the tree strategy. Just send it into those pine, I guess, not really pine. Left of the pine tree is preferable. If it clips the pine tree, it's kind of fine, but we miss it left, and that's also totally good. So I'll use the spoon. Our distance is 170. Now 180 is kind of what I'm used to, so I'm going to have to take some off of this. So I'm going to say to about there on the power meter should be pretty good. We'll have to roll this down there carefully. Now, how far right is this going to move? It's tough to tell with the spoon. The spoon tends to fly straighter, but this is way downhill, so it has more time to hang in the air. Tough to tell exactly. I think I like this. This seems pretty okay. Let's give it a chance. Okay, that's the shot that I wanted to hit. Now, is that going to be on a great line? It's just going to be a little too far left. Now, that shot was almost definitely going to end up pretty far away when I have to hit the spoon into it. So it's not going to be the easiest putt here, but it's doable. It's a putt that I've seen plenty of times. We'll see if we can hit that up there pretty hard. Probably about 3 dots, maybe a little more of power is going to be what it takes to get it there. That looks pretty good, and it'll fall for the birdie. So not the best of conditions in the middle of this front 9. Kind of a missed opportunity on hole 2, and that was about it so far. Hole 4, I gave a really good run through some tougher conditions and just didn't fall as well. And we're going to see just marginally not the best wind on hole 7 here. Like, it's not strong, but it's just slightly in the wrong direction, and it's just slightly a little bit too strong for this to be a straightforward hole. So I think, I'm not exactly sure, but I think we'll have to use the 3-iron when we get up there. I'm just not sure if 11 miles an hour is going to push the spoon too far to make it work. Because there's a very narrow tree gap when you're using the spoon to hit it through. Now, I think my maximum aim with the spoon is going to be to there. Now, would that work? I mean, maybe it's worth a shot. I'll have to hit it a little bit harder than I typically would. And maybe it'll have to hit the green first. I'm not sure if it hits the rough, if it'll get there. Because the rough takes a lot of speed off of it. And it's a matter of, you know, needing it to roll out when it hits the rough. But hitting the green first keeps all the speed on it, so it flies a bit straighter at that point. So a very, very touchy play here. I think I'm just going to use the spoon and hope for the best. Never the best thing to be hoping for the best, but just not quite the easiest of conditions today. I feel like I can at least give it a shot with this adjustment, though. So let's try it out. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Is that going to be on a good line? It's probably going to hit the fringe, which it always does. Whenever I'm not exactly sure what the play is, I always hit the fringe with the spoon. It's a very small target, but it's like, you know, for whatever reason, like the game just gives you the fringe, and the fringe causes it to bounce way over the green. One of the many curses in this game. Oh, is that going to get there? That putt felt really weird on the power meter, so I don't exactly know what that was. I was moving my putt like it was going to be quite a bit stronger, and even there, it just taps it. I felt like I was getting half the power I was looking for on the practice swings, but that's okay. We'll move on to hole 8, see if we can pick up another eagle on this front 9. 2 miles an hour, kind of right in the face. Not too bad at all. I've never made this pin. I should put that out there. It's a very, very difficult pin to try to make the hole-in-one on, but I feel like we have a chance today. Let's hit it with that much power and see if that works. That felt really ideal. Can we get the proper bounce? That looks okay. Can we get it to trickle up and roll left a little more? It'll fall. My first ever hole-in-one on that pin on hole 8. That feels really good. Finally got that one out of the way. Wow, and it took 2 mile an hour winds to do it, so some nicer conditions there on hole 8. It just trickles up that mound with the backspin, moves a little left and falls. That one feels real nice. Let's move on to hole 9 and see if we can pick up another one and keep some momentum going in this round. Okay, what kind of winds are we going to see here? Not the greatest, but I mean, it's not bad. It's going to be difficult.
Nice shot.
Because you can't get there in 2 with this wind, nor is it very, very light wind where it makes that third shot a little more doable. But maybe, depending on the distance we have, 313 yards. Now, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of this game is just about remembering things that happened and correcting your mistakes. A couple days ago, I had 310 yards. Granted, I had 26 mile an hour crosswinds, but that caused the shot. When I tried to go for that right side of the green, like leave it in the rough over there, it caused that shot to hit the top of the rock and fall in the water. So this shot is 3 yards further away. Now there is less crosswind, which causes the ball to fly a little bit further, but it's just a little too risky for my taste to try to send this down on the far side of that water. So because of that, I'm going to lay up short and remember my mistake, correct it, and try to do better the next time. That's exactly what I'm doing here. If I end up in the rough, that's kind of fine. I'll just have to club up. And let's hit a nice third shot with some crosswind into this pin. So I'm going to aim this a little left. Now it's not going to have as much movement because I'm clubbing up. It flies a little lower, flies a little faster, doesn't have as much time in the air. So I'll aim this just a little to the left. I want to land this right of the pin with some spin and try to get it to fall that way. So not the easiest shot, but that's the plan. It's what I really have to do here. Let's try it out. It felt like it has a chance. If it rolls back, it just bites really hard. Even though it flies lower and hits that far side of the mound, it bites really hard instead of trickling back, which I feel like tends to happen for some reason. Like if you're using the shorter iron and hitting it harder, for some reason it just like kind of glides to a stop sometimes, but then you club up, the ball flies in lower, and instead of gliding, it bites. So not exactly sure why that is, but that's what happens sometimes. We'll have to try to make this putt up this hill. Not the easiest run at it, but We end up with that putt quite often on hole 9, so not the best of wind conditions on the front 9 today. I mean, 4 had a real chance, just left it 0.4 feet away. 5, 6, and 7 were fairly difficult, but we pick up hole 8, which is huge. So we have 2 eagles. We need 8 more on the back here, so, I mean, we didn't see the ideal conditions so far that we're going to need in order to try to make 10 eagles. But I feel like I did pretty well considering. I mean, I left one. Really, I could have had 4. 2 was doable. 4 was doable. 4 I almost did. I mean, 2 I left really close as well. But, you know, sometimes you just don't quite make them, and that's the case today. So we'll have a shot here at trying to pick one up on hole 10. I think I like this adjustment just a little to the left. 1 square to the left feels pretty good. Maybe a little over 3.5 dots of power is what it's going to take here. Let's try that out. So just over 3.5 dots of power. That feels like a good shot. Is that going to kick too far right, though? Oh, it just misses on the right side.
Nice approach.
A very, very near miss there. With a little tiny bit of wind on hole 10. That felt like the proper adjustment. It just misses barely, barely to the right. We'll have to pick up a birdie. So we'll see if we can get some nicer conditions on some of these par 3s that are oftentimes more key here. We're going to see some wind. It's going to be 2 miles an hour, though, so not bad at all. So let's aim this to about there. This should move just slightly to the right. I still want to land it left of the pin, though. That feels like the proper power. Right about there. Let's try it out. Okay, I think I gave that one a real chance. Is that going to land properly? Ooh, it's going to land too far to the right. So the wind moved that 2 miles an hour, almost straight ahead, still moved it considerably to the right. I aimed that about 3 feet left, and it landed about on the pin. So it moved a couple feet in the air, which I didn't quite think it would. I thought maybe it would move like a foot or so, which is what I was going for. And it just doesn't fall. So we'll have to memory bank that next time that I have to adjust a little more, even through the super light, almost tailwind. And let's move on to hole 12 and see if we can pick up one of the more straightforward eagles in this game. Actually, I would call this the most straightforward eagle. You can give it a good chance at an albatross every single time. You always see light winds on this hole. And it's always makeable in 2. So let's see what we need to do here. Let's aim this one to about there. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. We'll hit it with a decent amount of power. Probably to there. And give it a run. It's always nice to give yourself an albatross, or a chance at an albatross on this one. That looks pretty good. It's probably just going to end up a little too far right, though, because it bounces right on that green. But that's a tap-in eagle. As far as what we're going for, that's fine. At this point, I'm just trying to make as many eagles as possible, try to get this score nice and low. And there's one. All right, a nice tap-in eagle on hole 12. Let's move on to 13 and see if we can get some nice light winds. I've had a couple holes on the back here where I've had some lighter winds that I haven't quite taken advantage of, just very near misses on a couple of them. We're going to see 6 miles an hour, almost pure headwind. Now this wind, or this hole, faces kind of diagonally, so the wind ends up being like, you know, never quite pure headwind or tailwind or crosswind. It's just a little weird on this one. So I need to land it about there. So I want to aim this probably to about there. That feels about right. We'll hit it with a little extra power because we're a little upwind. And that feels pretty good.
Nice shot.
Alright, that felt like the shot if that takes the proper landing. That's just too far to the right, I think. Yeah, that's going to bite and roll back just a little too far on the right side.
Nice approach.
So interestingly, I adjusted that maybe slightly, just very slightly more compared to hole 11. And I had triple the wind. So 2, 4, 6 are the wind speeds. I adjusted that barely more than on hole 11, and it moves seemingly less But that's the way it goes. I mean, the wind is the wind in this game. It's just about the direction of the hole. It's a little weird. It gets very tricky sometimes to judge exactly what the wind is going to do. Okay, we have crosswind here, but I think I can still hit that tree gap just fine, as long as I put a little bit of extra power on it. Aim it a little left of where I want it to be. I think that's pretty good. Let's give it a shot.
Nice shot.
Okay, that's the power I was looking for. That looks like it's flying on a decent line. It's probably just going to clip that first tree, though. Will it still make it through? It barely won't make it to the fairway. So it did clip that tree, but not super hard. So this now becomes a little more difficult of a shot to try to put it up on the green. I probably have to take a little bit off of the spoon here. And hopefully not clip that bunker. That's the goal. Just don't clip the bunker. Try to bounce it up and over it. Okay, that's going to land short and left of it, and that's good. Oh, but it'll launch. That's the other thing you have to worry about, that launch roll when you have to hit that really low shot. It doesn't often happen, but sometimes it does, and we see it there. And now the wind and the slope are pushing in the same direction, which makes for a tricky chip. So the slope is going left, the wind is going left. They're going to kind of amplify each other. So we have to aim this considerably right and just try to bounce it correctly down that hill. So it's not the easiest of chips here for this eagle. That feels like a decent adjustment, though. We just have to land it in the proper spot for it to kind of bounce down there. And that's just barely not it. So that moves about 45 degrees left. It's really just about how far you land that, and I just landed it slightly too short. So a difficult chip there to try to save that eagle. I couldn't put myself in a great spot because the bunker kind of guards the right side of the green. So I had to leave that a little left, and it just launches over the back, which is unfortunate. Just one of those things about this game, the physics of it, that are there. I mean, they're there. We've played with them for a very long time, and you have to deal with them. Okay. Let's try to make one on hole 15 here. This wind is fairly doable. I think we'll end up in the fairway or very barely in the rough. Either way is totally fine. Yeah, fairway's nice. We'll be able to club up and try to hit a little... it's tough to tell exactly what this is gonna do with this wind. I'm gonna aim it to about there. That feels about right. I want to land this just left of the cup and try to spin it in. So a little left and a little short. Now whether this bounces or glides is kind of up in the air. Let's try it out, though.
Nice shot.
So this may glide to a stop. This may bite and roll back. We'll have to see what it does. Oh, it'll glide. So it glides and just hits the right side of the cup, kind of pinballs off the pin, and does not end up in the cup. And that's kind of been how today has gone. So we'll have to tap in for the birdie. An unfortunate one there. We've had a couple of near misses like that. And we have 3 eagles on the scorecard heading into 16. So, couple near misses. This could have been a better round. Just didn't quite play my best. And we're going to see... okay, this wind is doable. I know it's doable because I think I've gotten it once. But we have to aim this in a very, very precise spot. I think it's about there.
Nice.
I know for a fact that we have made this shortcut with 11-mile-an-hour winds in that direction in this challenge series. So we do make it. I was pretty confident that that would work. And now we have to try to make this one. So I have missed this one on the low side several times. So I want to aim this probably to about there. The wind's going to push it a bit. I think I want to land this short because this does typically kind of glide into a rollback rather than biting and rolling back. It's a weird one with this pin. Not the easiest pin on hole 16 to try to make, but it's the one we're going to see every day, so we have to get used to it. I think I like that adjustment. Let's try to make this one, land it a little short of pin high, and try to glide it back in there. Oh, that's not short of pin high. That's well beyond pin high. So even though on the mini-map it looked like it was, maybe the wind pushed that a little forward, which, I mean, it kind of was in that direction. But like I said, it just glides to a stop, so you don't have a lot of margin for error with this one. You have to hit it correctly. I'm still getting used to it. I haven't been able to make that shortcut super often and hit this pin. I feel like you don't see that pin often in competitive play, so I haven't played it a whole lot with that shortcut. Okay, so now we have 22-mile-an-hour winds pushing to the left on hole 17 here. Just going to hit a full driver at it. Hopefully this bounces to a stop rather than launching. Oh, it'll launch. Of course it'll launch. It always launches on me whenever the wind is in that direction. I thought maybe that took a high enough bounce where it wouldn't, and it could kind of have a chance at kind of bouncing to the pin, because it bounces just more and more sideways as you get there. But let's hit a putt at this one. Oh man, hole 17, not my favorite. Especially this pin, because it's so hard to try to make a save on this pin. So let's hit this one up there. Try to get it to fall. Gonna need a lot of power on it. That looks pretty good. Oh, and it'll just burn the left edge. So that's a real tough chip from the back there. A real unfortunate glide. But I had to be aggressive and try to make the hole in one. We'll tap in the par on a tougher hole 17, and we'll see if we can pick up an eagle to salvage a decent round. I mean, 20 under isn't the best for this local mode. But I mean, it's not a bad round considering the conditions. Oh, and we see, okay, an interesting end to this round. So with no wind on hole 18, as long as I get the power right on the second shot, we can put it real close to the pin. Oh, that takes a left bounce though. So that may ruin the angle that I needed to try to reach this pin. Let's see. Let's zoom into the mini-map and see. So if I go to the terrain map, I can still reach that upper slope. I think I still have to aim right at this one. We'll use the 3-iron. Probably about that much power. And we'll see if that works.
Nice shot.
I feel like one time I've had this and I left it a little bit short, but we'll see if that takes a nice first bounce. Lands on top. Oh, it just catches the end of that upslope, which causes that second bounce to move a little bit left. If it catches the very, very top of that slope, of that kind of like tier of the green, it bounces straight. And it has a real good chance at falling. But it just catches the upslope. I just didn't quite hit it far enough. But we'll tap into eagle. Would have been a fun albatross to end there, but it's a pretty precise one. You have to land the first bounce in the right spot to make the second bounce hit the top tier, like perfectly in the top tier of that kind of 3-tiered green. And it just doesn't quite work. So we're 20 under. 1, 2, 3, 4 eagles. Not my best round. Not my best number of eagles, but, you know, not the best of conditions. I don't think we saw any zero wind holes except for the last one, which makes it a very straightforward eagle. Anyway, 18 is definitely more of a straightforward eagle quite often. So it's not like it really, really helps to see zero wind there. But, you know, we'll have to try again tomorrow. Not my best go at it, but I felt like I hit some good shots that just didn't quite fall. And that happens sometimes, so we'll try again tomorrow, hope for some better luck on some of those close ones, and maybe some better conditions in the early/middle part of that round. And we'll see you then.